Adu upon you are you Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Blessing of Sabbath. On Nabiya, read everything. Barakatah Yahweh. Hashem Yahushai. Asherah. Atananawa. Ashabaf. Bashalom. The water. Amen. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it. Psalm 121. The Alim Ma'a Asherayim Akkad. Anya Orayim Ayinimya O Orayim Mayan Yabua'a Izoya Yabua'a Mayahawa Sha'isha Shamayim Barataza Ba'a Yanathan Lamawat Wegalia Yala'a Yanawam Shashama Yasharallah Yahweh. No, I'm sorry. Shashamarka Yasha Allah. Let me start all over again. I lost the Aliyam Ma'a Asherayim Akkad. Psalm 121. Anya Orayim Ayinimya O Orayim Mayan Yabua'a Izoya Yabua'a Mayahawa Sha'isha Shamayim Rataza Ba'a Yanathan Lamawat Wegalia Yala'a Yanawam Shashamaka Anna La'a Yanawam Wala'a Yishan Shashama Yasharallah Yahweh Shemaya Yahweh Dazalia Ayel Yad Yinyim Yad Yahumam Ashamash La'a Al-Karya Rayurat La'a Balayala Yahweh Yashamoya Mako Rai Yashamo Nafasha Yahweh Yashamo Awlakia Babuaya Maitha Wa'ai Iwulam Basham Yahushai Tawada Amen.
Psalms 121, a song of degrees. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber, behold. He that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper, the Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Shema Yasharallah, Hear Israel. Shema Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allah Yahweh, Akkad, Shema Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allah Yahweh, Akkad, Shema Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allah Yahweh, Akkad, Shema.
Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Amen.
Amen. Yahweh Tapala, Yahweh's prayer. Abiyanawa,
Abiyanawa,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Kodash,
Kodash,
Haya,
Hayya,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Malakovka,
Malakwatka,
Taba'a,
Taba'a,
Watazawanka,
Ratazawanka,
Haya,
Hayya,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Barataza,
Barataza,
Ka,
Ka,
Bashemayim,
Bashemayim,
Latananawa,
Latananawa,
Lakam,
Lakam,
Yawam,
Yawam,
Za,
Za,
Kasalaknawa,
Kasalaknawa,
Kawafnawa,
Kabawatnawa,
Kasalaknawa,
Kasalaknawa,
Kawafyanawa,
Kabawatnawa,
Wala'a,
Wala'a,
Abiyonawa,
Abiyanawa,
Oh,
Oh,
Nasaiwan,
Nasaiwan,
Abo,
Abo,
Awshainawa,
Awashinawa,
Morai,
Murai,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Laka,
Laka,
Amalakwa,
Amalakwa,
Wa'ala,
Wa'ala,
Watapara,
Watapara,
Aibulam,
Waibulam.
Amen.
Amen. Matthew 6 and 9. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Asherah Matazawat, the Ten Commandments. La'a,
Laha,
Lahaya,
Yahaya,
Laka,
Laka,
Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Al-Qayyim,
Akari,
Al-Punya,
Alkuya,
La'a,
La'a,
Taisha,
Taisha,
Laka,
Laka,
Koso,
Paso,
Wala'a,
Wala'a,
Taibadam,
Taibadam,
La'a,
La'a,
Talakoka,
Talakwaka,
Shamwa,
Shamwa,
Yahawa,
Yahal,
Lahaika,
Alahayaka,
Lashua,
Lashawa,
Zakar,
Zakar,
Af,
Ah,
Ayuwam,
Ayawam,
Ashabah,
Ashabah,
Lakodashwa,
Lakodashwa,
Kabad,
Kabad,
Abiyaka,
Abika,
Wa Amaka,
Wa Amaka,
La'a,
La'a,
Tuatazak,
Tiratazak,
La'a,
La'a,
Tana'ap,
Tana'at,
La'a,
La'a,
Taganab,
Tagana,
La'a,
La'a,
Taina,
Daina,
Shukur,
Shukor,
La'a,
La'a,
Takamad,
Takamai,
Ko,
Ko,
Ashura,
Asherah,
Laraika,
Laraika.
Amen.
Amen. Deuteronomy 5 and 7. Thou shalt have none other God before me. Thou shalt not make thee a graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord abhorreth guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy ox, nor thy ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou. And remember that thou wast the servant in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. Honor thy father and thy mother as the Lord thy God commanded thee, that thy days may be prolonged, and that it may go well with thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, neither shalt thou commit adultery, neither shalt thou steal, neither shalt thou bear false witness against thy neighbor, neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen.
Amen. Yeshua, please be seated. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Asherah, Natanawa, Payagapan, Tuara Aman, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Yasha Allah. I mad upon you are Jerusalem, stand in face Jerusalem. Repeat the Hebrew only. Barakata Yahweh, Agado, Bakaram, Abiyo, Manawa'a, Ayuwan, Malak, Sho, Shemayim, Warataza, Wako, the Bayam, Kayayum, Wagum, Amashiach, Mayahawa, Adawanawa, Ahabnawa, Apala, Yahaitaza, Yahushai, Zakarnawa, Yahweh, Batazawan, Ainka, Yasha Allah, Aizonawa, Bana, Wasap, Yasha Allah. Oh, Nanawa, Yamyan, Aita, Kaiwamyam, Akudam, Abakushai, Shalat, Maika Allah, Watazawadat, Alahayam, La, Maganawa, Wapanawa, Washimor, Alnawa, Vaikur, Shalat, Awoka, Shaw, Yahushai, Lanawa, Lalamadnawa, Rabiam, Takama, Tabawana, Wada Aif, Shaw, the Barka, Bahasham, Yahushai, Tawala, Tamyad, Waibulam, Aman. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. And also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor Yahushai. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably, your people Israel. Help us build in God of Israel. Musa, we beg, right now, like the days of old. Please send Michael and the righteous powers to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the spirit of Yahushai to us to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahushai, thank you, always and forever, so be it. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives to us the law. Barakata Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Asherah, Nathanawa, Atawra. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives to us the light to see. Barakata Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Asherah, Nathanawa, Awar, Lara Ora. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives to us the remson to call the people. Barakata Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Asherah, Nathanawa, Quran, Ayo, La Korah, Ha'ain. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives to us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barakata Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Asherah, Nathanawa, Asheman, Zayah, Lamashak, Yasha Allah. Yeshua, please be seated. All right, shalom, my brothers, shalom, my sisters.
Shalom.
Welcome to Hayashua Alakanas, which stands for the Congregation of Israel. Each, the so-called Negroes and Hispanics, those who came here on cargo slave ships, and also those they call the they are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. Today is the Lord's Sabbath day, as regularly scheduled. We are honoring the Most High on this day. As we just read, 6 days thou shalt labor and do all that work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy power. So we come to do exactly what we read. As we read, we practice, which is how it's supposed to be. My name is Kaham Pokwad. Today I have the privilege of servicing the service. Presided over the service. Today reading will be in 1Maccabees in the Apocrypha, the 2nd chapter and the 3rd chapter. In this chapter, we will learn many lessons that our people have left for us, and also examples that we should follow. Have your Bible, your books, pen ready as we embark in this new Sabbath service today. According to the Gregorian calendar, today is the 17th of June. And the year is 2017. Shalom, sister.
Shalom.
All right, the service has started. And we are going over chapter 2 in 1Maccabees. And we're gonna start reading 1Maccabees. All right, let's get started. First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 1. And if by any chance your phone is not on mute, please press *6 to put it on mute. In case you have a comment, you can, or scripture that you would like to bring out, put your phone on mute so we have less feedback as possible. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Jorab, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. So now we are introduced to Mattathias. And we see that where he come from is mentioned here. He is the son of Simeon. And Simeon was a priest, right, of the sons of Jorab. Further down the line is lineage. And also mention the location from Jerusalem. And from Jerusalem, in a locality named Modin. So that's where Mattathias resided. So now let's get some more finding about him. So again, we know that he was a native of Jerusalem. We know where he resided. And now, also, the reason why his name is mentioned here and why we're reading about him, he was a leader of the nation of the Jews. He became a leader. So that's one of the reasons why we're reading about him today. And also, we're reading in the book of Maccabees. Maccabees also stands for something. He was named the Maccabees, which means the hammer, right? So this was his trade name or his military name and its function. So what did he do in 167 BC? He led a revolt. He led a revolt against the Antiochus Epiphany, the Syrians, right, in 167 BC. And he led that revolt because there was an attempt to wipe out Israel or the Jews from existence. So that man, Mattathias, he stood up and led the people, prevented that from happening. So we're going to read about what was happening and why he had to take the lead role of leading the people. All right, so he ignited the revolt because all values must be defended. Our spiritual values, family values, what we stand for must be defended. All right, so now that we find out a little bit about him, let's go back to 1Maccabees, the second chapter, and now we are at verse 1. And he had 5 sons. Now we're going into his sons, right? His family. His close, his personal family.
Yeah, a link for verse 1. When it talks about of the sons of Jorab, so from the Bible's a book of record, you can just write down as a link. First Chronicles 24, to the family line that they come out of, as you touched on, they come out of the sons of Aaron, which was Moses' brother. You can read First Chronicles chapter 24. You can start from 1 and go down to about 7. And verse 7 is where you see Jehoiarib, which was one of the lots that came from two of Aaron's 4 sons that the priest line would continue out of because of his first eldest son. It tells you they were evil for the Lord, right? They offered strange fire. Instead of doing a proper altar of incense. Verse 7, it tells you the first lot came forth to Jehoiarib, the second to Jehoiada, or Jediah. So that Jehoiarib is the same Joarib that the Maccabees came out, or that the sons of Mattathias came out.
All right, so thank you. Now we're back to 1Maccabees, the 2nd chapter. And we're going to go to verse 2. And he had 5 sons. Johanan called Cadiz, Simeon called Tassi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar called Avaran, or Avaran, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphis. So those were his 5 sons. Furthermore, in verse 6, it says, and when he saw the blasphemy that were committed in Judah, right? One second. Am I rolling? Fine. All right. We had verse 6 now. All right, now it says, and when he saw the blasphemy that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem. So now, as we can see here, there's not much details. It just go and jump into he saw the blasphemy. Any country, when a problem erupted, what happened is it was already, growing, and then it become a full-blown problem. So now, as he lived, he was witnessing blasphemy and abomination committed around where he was maintaining his life. So that says, and when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and in Jerusalem, he said, woe is me, wherefore was I born? So now he knew how he was brought up. He understood the principles and the laws and the family values that he was raised on. And he noticed something contrary to his upbringing. Yes, when he see these things happen, he got fed up with it. Even why was he born to witness all these things in his lifetime? And for him to have that reaction is because he saw that the Jews, the Israelites, they were being ruined. It says, to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there. When it was delivered of the enemies in the sanctuary into the hand of strangers, her temple is become as a man without glory. So everything was going backward, contrary to how it's supposed to. Our way, the way we live, the way we eat, our upbringing, everything was going backward, decelerate. And you see the exaggeration, right, to correct the wrong. In verse 8, verse 9, her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infant are slain in the street. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. So those are the things that he witnessed that were happening. Right? Kids were getting killed. The vessel that used to be in a temple, that used to be served as vessels to present offerings to the Most High, also to show glory unto the Most High. These things, they were taken away by the enemy from the sanctuary. And on top of it, the kids, they were being slaughtered, right? And they were being killed. Furthermore, it says in verse 10, what nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? So we were up for play. Anybody that could take advantage of Israel, they had a chance to, take advantage. Right? It was apparent. So were things back then, so are things now. In our community, we are surrounded by enemies, by the other nation. They set up shop, they set up businesses, and they take advantage of our people, some of them, for the most part. Serve us bad food without regards to our health, without regards to our family values, since we are seen as people of low value without moral encompasses, without any sort of dignity or morale about us. So therefore, we are up for game. So we can be taken advantage of because we are not considered a people. But when it comes to taking advantage or commerce, we are the prime candidate, right, to exploit. Same story then, same now. And these are the things that he experienced happening. And he got fed up with it, and someone has to say enough is enough. And it happened to be him that stood up and revolt against what was happening. Especially our temple all goods will be attack, always under attack. And it seems like we have no one in this day to stand with religion doctrines. So the laws that we used to keep in the Bible to do that is, sit straight, and then, just sit straight, put your back, so that you don't get too relaxed, because otherwise you're gonna fall asleep. Especially when the weather is a little hot, We come to get the wisdom to honor the Most High. Let's do our best. All right. So now we at verse 11. It says, "What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of a spoil?" Keep in mind, this man, verse 10 says that, right? I'm just going over verse 10. So the man has experience, right? History repeats itself. In his lifetime, he has seen Israel being taken advantage of by other nations, mainly because of our disobedience, right? So the same thing that the Most High said back then is the same thing that is going on now. Nothing changes. Okay? So the man saw it. But being a man of Israel, he knows our value. You have to defend it. He has to fight for it and defend it. Fight for what you believe in, even if it means that you die. You die physically, right? We know that Israel, we're gonna be here forever. There's no dying for us, but physically we can get hurt. But if it means that getting hurt physically, because we know as long as our spirit is fine, it doesn't matter, right? So now, 11, he says, all her ornaments are taken away. Everything that we valued in the temple was taken away. And it says, of a woman, right? So we were no longer free, right? She has become a slave. Israel has become a slave. Verse 12. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste. And the Gentile have profaned it.
Will you add in the prophecy, please? Okay, well,
Now me could go. What
okay, you reading out of the prophecy?
Yeah, we reading out of the prophecy.
Okay, well, yeah, I may tell you what to do. Where you at in the prophecy?
I'm at the 2 Maccabees.
2 Maccabees.
I'm sorry, 1 Maccabees first. First Maccabees.
1 Maccabees.
The second chapter.
Second chapter.
Right now we at the 12th verse.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, what? You don't have a
No, that don't mean nothing. You should write it down.
I ain't write it down.
Keep reading, brother.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry.
All right, Nabia.
Verse 11. We also had Galatians chapter 4, verses 22 to 26.
Galatians chapter 4.
22 to 26.
Don't be cool.
22 to 26. All right.
Wow.
Galatians 4:22, 26.
What? You understand?
Oh. Galatians 4:22, 26.
What was that?
Galatians chapter 4, verse 22 to 26. Yes, go on. Galatians. In the Bible.
Galatians.
Mhm.
Brother on the teleconference, right? Galatians, not Colossians, right?
Galatians, yes.
He always gets them mixed up, right? Brother Duffy. Also, you can link Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 14. Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 14. Galatians 4:22-26. That just goes into Israel being likened unto Sarah, and then Ishmael being likened unto the other nations, right? As far as who will be the bondwoman, who will be the free woman. We're supposed to be of the bondwoman, but when we broke the commandments, we did become the bondwoman. As you go into now, spiritually first and then physically. And then Jeremiah 2 and 14, it poses the question, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? So the answer is same as always, because of our disobedience as you're going into that. Galatians chapter 22-26.
Okay. All right, so go back to the second chapter. Now we have the 12th verse. It says, "Oh, our sanctuary." What's that? What's that? You gotta focus. These things happen. So the key is you not losing your focus. And then we'll talk about it afterward. We at 1Maccabees, the second chapter. We at verse 12 now. "And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty, is laid waste." Right? So our temple where we used to go worship, and at that time, a whole lot for Israel. Right? We felt as though that's where we go to receive, blessings, to pray, because what something that was when we go to the temple and worship and give praise to the Most High. Just imagine, before then we used to go and worship on the Sabbath day, just like the majority of the people. If you tell them not to go to church on Sunday, it's just like you insult them, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same way it used to be when we used to go on the Sabbath to worship. We felt, the vibe was there, and we felt the vibe mostly because it was the right day to do it, right? So we were doing things accordingly. So just to see that becoming a waste, the beauty of it being step. We have problem. Top profaning, right? The things that they weren't supposed to do, that's what they did. So imagine how much grief that brought to a righteous man who are doing the right thing. Verse 13. "And therefore shall we live any longer." So whenever your spiritual values get under attack, you feel, what's the point of even, because your lifeline is cut short. It's like you on life support. You walking, you breathing, you eating, but your foundation is lacking. It's just like you're not living anymore. You're just there, passing time. Right? This was this is the what we trying to get across here. Our lifeline is cut short. Everything that we live for. So the question was, what's the point of living? What's the point of life? Verse 14. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compel the people to revolt, came into the city modern to make them sacrifice. So one day the king's officers, they came to supervise or enforce the sacrifice that they used to do to idols. So now, let's see what happened. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also came together. So many of the people of Israel, right, they were there. And Mattathias and his sons were also there. They assembled. So now it was like a meeting, right? When they met, they were about to have. And as we read, it says, then entered the king. I'm sorry, it says Mattathias also and his sons came together. Verse 17. Then entered the king officer and said to Mattathias, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in the city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. He acknowledged Mattathias. So he mentioned what Mattathias stand for. He said he had great strength and he has he's an honorable man, he's a respectable man. So now he comes to, so usually when you are making an offer, you know, the other party, you know, at least for flattery, mention, you know, your values and things that you stood for, right? And he said, now therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in number of the king's friend, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. So now here come the offer that he put on the table. So he wanted them to sell out, right? He wanted them to sell out, so he made them an offer. And the offer was, stop observing the law, statutes, and commandments. Just start doing everything that you see the other people out there are doing. Forget your law, right? Just forget about your law and start, just mingle with the people and just do. And on top of it, you will get paid, right? Right, you get reward. You get silver, you get gold, and you're not doing anything wrong. You just, you know, you just do what the people do. So what's the point of, you know, not doing it, especially if you're gonna get paid, right? So this was the offer that is made. But now freedom cannot be bought, right? Freedom cannot be bought. It can be fought for in one, and you win it. So let's see what he did. And again, you had also Jews who volunteer to start breaking the law as well with them, without pay. Right? They volunteer to keep the law without pay. Like they say, everybody has a price. So they did it for free. That price is free. But Mattathias, he's a big fish, so you have to come at him, you know, differently. But a man of honor, a man of the Most High cannot be bought with silver and with gold, because he understood wisdom is more precious than silver and gold. Let's go to Proverbs 16 and 16. Let's get Proverbs 16 and 16. Come on, Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 16. So many of our people have sold out today. You cannot even recognize selling out anymore. It's regular business. Come on.
Proverbs 16:16. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather to be chosen than silver.
Go on. Go on. Go on, Nabia.
Proverbs 28 and 21. You were saying earlier about having sound moral values and how the law gives us that, especially in regards to respect of persons, right? Whether it's our own people or even if it's the heathen.
Mm-hmm.
This is Proverbs 28 and 21. It says to have respect of persons is not good, for a piece of bread that man will transgress.
Go on. For a piece of bread, that man would transgress. Esau transgressed for a piece of bread, right? Him selling his birthright was transgression for a morsel of meat. But at the same time, while someone is losing, somebody on the other side is winning. So he's losing, we winning. So he was offered silver and gold as reward. Back to 1 Maccabees, 2nd chapter. Now we are at verse 19. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice. So now he's gonna put him on the mic now with a loud voice. He's gonna talk about what this guy just did, and he's gonna make it clear what he will not go for and what he will stand for. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice. Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away everyone from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my son and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. So here he is, stood for his religion in its pure form, right? Not religion in the sense of the world. So now values must be defended, right? So the value of the religious value must be defended. So he's stood to defend this value. Family was stood, right? As the brother pointed out in Joshua 24:15, he decided that he would serve the Most High. Right? Go ahead, Yaukanan.
Trying to get the verse in Daniel chapter 6, verse 7.
In Daniel chapter 6 and verse 7.
I was going to read it quick. Daniel 6 and 7. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. He's making this petition that nobody pray to their God and more or less keep the laws.
Right.
So Daniel did otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
and he prayed to the Most High.
Gone. So Daniel is another prominent guy, right, who stood for the law. So back then, they understood how to stand up for true value. right? Nowadays, people kill others for a pair of sneakers, right? That's where our value went. Our value went in a pair of sneakers and, money, right? Bread, food, but things that are necessary to die for, people have no part in it. Like having spiritual discussion to see how we can make our people or help our people wake up. People don't want to talk. They don't want to talk. But as soon as we get shut down in the street, then we're ready to talk. Right? We're ready to make breaking news, national TV, and have a conference, and then give it 2 or 3 weeks, it dies out because it's no longer breaking news. So we make way for another one. So we being merchandised all over, and we don't even stand for what we used to stand for right here.
You quoted already Joshua 24.
Right. Yeah, Joshua 24:15.
And it's funny you mentioned that, Kevin, because one actually came back because it just hit the news recently about the cop that killed up Orlando Catskill.
Mm-hmm.
That was hot when it first happened, right? As far as him not even resisting, just sitting in the seat. And the cop just came out that the cop was found not guilty. His mom was giving a speech on TV saying, "You're next. It can happen to my son. It can happen to anyone."
Right. Right.
We'll see how long this lasts again.
Yeah.
All the other shooters.
Yeah. As long as the news is sensation, it's about sensation. But once that sensation goes away, and if a chance to revive it again, where it becomes a new sensation, then we bring it out again for the sake of, selling, advertising. I'm telling you, once you walk in a room, you hear they say breaking news. People, whatever they were doing, they stop, because that's the word that they used to get your attention. Before, it used to be different, so you pretty much craft different words, right, and then make you accustomed to it. So as soon as they put that word out, it catch your attention. Breaking news. We have a story about then they start using body language just to catch your attention. Doing all this thing, he was right here, he ran over here, and the car went over here, and she shot him right there, right? And then after that, dies out. Every couple of days, breaking news again, right, to get your attention. It's all a scheme, but our people are not in their right mind to figure it out, right? And we are becoming merchandise. We become merchandise.
So you mentioned that, you look at the news, say 30, 40 years ago versus now. Before it was just, you saw other men sympathizing, reading the paper. Now you got, people, on the scene, reporting live, a lot of sex being pushed out there as far as like the guys and girls dress scantily now. To where it's like the newscasters, like you're watching the news just to see the latest weather girl or the latest reporter.
Right.
Right? Because they're trying now to pick like the top model bombshells for news reports.
Right.
Where it's like you're so busy admiring her beauty, you're not even listening to what the information.
Right, and that's what's gonna keep you coming back. Right. That's why yeah. That's what they're doing to keep you coming back, because they understood that so much news is happening right now. Right. It's very hard to keep the audience attention. Yeah, it's hard to keep the audience attention because news is coming from everywhere. Right. You go on the internet, you watch your news. You go anywhere, you watch your news. So now they have to have a bait, because the goal is they don't want to lose the advertising contract or the advertising dollars that they're getting from those merchants. So they have to come with different schemes, to keep your attention.
Advertise mine.
Gone. So every time you turn on the TV, you gotta see that news anchor with that nice red dress, right? With that nice red dress and and makeup done up, right? And you gotta see that man with nice cut, with tie and very nice. So they keep you coming. So to the point where you fall in love with the anchor, right? Not the news. You watch the TV because of the anchor, but it's subliminal.
Right.
It's subliminal, and then they keep you with those words, with those buzzwords. Breaking news. We just have a story, right? We just have a story. We just learned, and something just happened, because it gotta be new. If it's not new, people are gonna tune away because there's so much new things happening. It's hard for them to keep up with the audience, right? Okay, so that's how we are being merchandised.
The core is supposed to be dead, right?
Who?
When Biggie Small.
Tupac.
Tupac. They got him advertising on TV and he's dead, and they got a movie out with him.
Right.
You know that? The only one who get money is his family.
Right.
On this. Now, one day, I'm thinking that idea. He's been dead so many years. Now, to bring his name out, but of course, they show all the different people that he was with. Janet Jackson, he almost quite a bit of people before he died. Now they figure, well, we can make some money.
Right.
They got a movie out now.
Right.
Movie's already out. Somebody last night told me they went to see it.
Right. So I mean, that's the way it is. As long as you're not there, visible, people always longing for that person. Right. The memory is there, but you're not gonna see the person physically.
Right.
Which is what you would want. If you see the person physically, then the interest goes away. That's even better. It's like you would never see that person, so the interest will always be there. So they can use that over and over and over. I don't know what we have to say. You ain't nobody until you die. Right?
But it's working for him.
It's working. It's working for the advertising media and the merchant who's producing those things to make money.
Right. I know when I first seen that, I know it was money.
Right. Right. That's the way it is. But again, back to Maccabees. We at the 19. We just read 19. Let me read it again. It says, "Then Matthias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my son and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances." So he understood the consequences of him not keeping the law, the choices of not keeping the law. What can happen to him, right? He said, "We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left." So he's gonna stay on a straight path, straight and narrow path. He's not gonna lean to the right nor to the left. So he already made up his mind. His mind was set on keeping the law, and he will not do anything otherwise. Him and his family, right, and the faithful ones who are doing the same like him. Verse 24. "Which things when Matthias saw, he was inflamed." I'm sorry, verse 23. "Now when he had left speaking," so now he done made his statement, he made it clear, to add insult to injury. "Now when he had left speaking, these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. That's okay. Now this man has spoken. Another sell out Israel, say, you know, I'm gonna show him he's nothing. I'm gonna make sure this word that he just spoken, they null and void. He went to the altar and then sacrificed to idols on the altar that they sacrificed for the Most High. So now you can imagine what's going inside Mattathias. He just sparked him. He was already heating up. All he needs is a spark so for him to go all out and flame. Right? So he was already the gas. All he needs is the match. Right? And the lighter. So boom. That act pretty much threw him off. So he lost it. So he went in verse 24. Verse 35. Before we go there, let's go to Ecclesiastes 7 and 7.
Link with the 23.
Fine.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. And it reads, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. So he did not take the bait of the gift that they would give him. Right? So now we're going to get him upset. So since he didn't bite, so now we're going to oppress him by doing this act. So boom, they threw the man on the altar. The man did his abomination. Now that was it. He got upset. So now the oppression should cause us to do better. Right? To cause us to do the right thing. To act in ways that we should act. So that's why sometimes getting angry, as long as it propels us to do better or to act in the right direction.
Kind of with this verse, I know usually bring it out of camp and say like, yeah, you know what, we got a reason to be pissed off. You should be pissed off, right? And it's true, but maybe actually the Hebrew word for which is mad, it's actually like for going out of your mind, because it connects with the curse, which says he will smite us with madness and blindness which sound to the heart. He's gonna have us go out of our minds. So the verse is still on point, because the second part we can definitely see from Mattathias, not letting the gift destroy his heart. But then the other brother, he's clearly going out of his mind. He's mad, right? Because he's willing in his conscious mind to go and do this horrible act to offer sacrifice on the altar to this false god.
Fine. So it's good that you bring that out. It's like it's two people. They both angry. One that got upset because of what he said. He's angry because he reacted to what he said and going to the altar right as soon as he finished saying that. He was like, what the hell this guy just said? I'm going to show him something. So he got mad because of what Mattathias spoke. And he did a wrong reaction. Now he's angry at what he did. He's going to do a righteous reaction because he's going to set an example.
Oh, God. I had no idea he didn't even work at the when I read it. I thought it was just a timing.
Right.
I didn't know he took note of what Mattathias said. I thought he was like in some other place. Just so happened after he gave his speech, he went up to the altar.
Right.
I mean, I just can't say one way or the other, but I always read it that way. Like, just as like you said, Mattathias brought it out. Just so happened, here comes this brother, offering the offering to the idol.
Right. And also, you can almost put it as
It's planned, right? Because when you're about to do something like that, especially the king's commissioners, they came from far, right? They came from far, and usually when those officials, they coming from one place to the next, they already have a plan of what they're gonna do, right? They don't just go out and just go and do stuff pro bono. They go out, they have a plan what they're gonna do. We're gonna speak to him, right? And while we speak to him, we're gonna go into the service, and then we're gonna show him there's nothing wrong with, you know, offering idol. Ain't nobody gonna die right that in there, right? It's gonna be plain and simple, right? So that we can, you know, insinuate it in the mind of the people. While they there, let's take advantage of the crowd, right? The crowd that's gonna be there, they are righteous crowd, but we're gonna infiltrate that unrighteous act, so that after everybody gone home, right, nobody dies. See, after all, what's the big deal? We just experienced this right there and there. See, there's nothing wrong with it. So let's let bygone be bygone, and then you get your money, and then, you know, the people worshiping. At the end of the day, you're rich. The other people, we don't have to worry about them. Once you do it, they're gonna do it too. So we gotta go for the head honcho, the man that is the hardball. That's the one we're gonna go for. So they go for my tithes.
This is something quick. It's in Numbers chapter 25 about Israel joining himself unto Baal Peor. Verse 7.
When you read verse 26, that would probably be the best time to read that verse.
Oh,
Okay.
Because off and
no.
if you don't mind, at least 26, that bring that one up.
So now we're gonna read verse 26 now. I'm sorry, verse 25. Also, the king's commissioner who compel men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Right? So the commissioner, right? At that time, and you got to keep in mind also, our people, they like to impress the enemy so that they can get more perks. Because they scare the enemy. In order to keep their position, they have to do more wickedness that the king would approve of, so that they can keep their position. And they have to make those that stand against the king as the, you know, the bottom of the pit. Right? So I'm gonna, don't worry, I got you. Sort of like the Uncle Tom. You know, sort of like the Uncle Tom. I'm gonna prove to you this guy is a wicked. I'm gonna do something you like so you can keep me there. And the hell with this guy.
Remember the Sambo, that's the one we're talking about. Uncle Tom was actually for the people. Sambo was the one that was the sellout.
Right. Sambo. The sellout, yeah.
We oftentimes said, I'm not saying quite a while. We brought it out and read the story like, oh, okay. Uncle Tom really wasn't the one that was cooning. It was the Sambo.
He's the coon. Sambo was the coon. So that's a good clarification. Now, y'all can, you had something to say? You had a scripture?
Oh no, verse 26. 26.
All right, so we're gonna read verse 26. It says, also verse 25 again. It says, also the king's commissioner will compel men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. And keep in mind, he compelled men to sacrifice, right? So which means there's other men there to do the sacrifice, right? He compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time. So to keep his position at that time, as by the time it's finished spoken, boom, right that in there, boom. Let's upset him a little bit and see what he's gonna do. And if he's really about his business, right? He got to do something. But I doubt it. He's gonna. In his mind, he may think, I doubt he's gonna do something. But if we pull this one through, people are gonna go home, and then the message is received by them in their mind. Even if we don't convert everybody, at least the seed is planted, and some of them So meaning it's about winning souls, for the wicked. So even if we get few of them, it doesn't matter. The key is, we did it, we insinuated, and see there's nothing wrong. But based on what we read, we're gonna read right here. It says, verse 26, does thou he zealously for the law of God, like as Phinehas did unto Zimri, the son of Solomon. So now you can bring out the verse that you're gonna bring out.
Oh. Numbers 25. That Israel is coming in order and build for a field. Verse 7. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. And he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel.
Right? So that story that the brother bring out is about Phinehas. Phinehas, he was a priest. He was a high priest of Eleazar. So he was charged over the gatekeepers of the tabernacle. All right, and he did the same thing that Brother Titus is about to do here.
Oh, if you could, yeah. Would you read 10 down to 15? The same chapter.
Read now. Numbers 25, verse 10. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, had turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Israel in my jealousy. Wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace, having, and his seed after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his God, and made an atonement for the children of Israel. Now the name of the Israelite that was slain, even that was slain with the Midianitish woman, was Zamri, the son of Salu, a prince of her chief house among the Simeonites.
Gun. So pretty much the Most High in this instant here made covenant, everlasting covenant with Phinehas, right, of everlasting priesthood, when because he did a righteous act by getting rid of someone who were evil, right, and he did the same thing that we're gonna read that Mattathias did. So he was in position up until 70 AD before. So the Most High kept his promise because of the righteous act. All right, and let's read on the same topic here, Psalm 106 and 30. Psalm 106 and verse 30.
Because you picked them last two, that was Numbers 25 and 7 and 35 and 10.
Yes, Numbers 25 and 7 and
7 to 9 and 10 to 14.
7 to 9 and 10 to 14.
Son,
He's going into the background. She is the daughter of one of the chiefs of Midian.
Okay. So now we're gonna go to Psalm.
It's crazy because look at us now. When you pick the heathen, you give it the heathen. You give it the Bible the barrel.
Right.
A lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them, the Bible the barrel instead of the top of them.
Yeah, we go for the what they call the white track.
Yeah, for what it's worth, you know, even their leaders are nothing as far as the most happens. On a level, it's just like, you want to go, not like they're straight women, you want to go find their bottom of the barrel.
Right.
Double foolishness. He's the guy, the rapper, Jay China. That's the name of the rapper.
Psalm 106:30 reads, Then stood up Phinehas and executed judgment, and so the plague was stayed. Okay, so we were going into a lot of captivity, a lot of atrocities, right, because of our wickedness. And once that was done by Phinehas, then the Most High stopped and reversed the course. Phinehas. Come on. Actually, we back to Maccabees. Yeah. Phinehas? Who was Phinehas? All right, Phinehas, it was Eleazar's son, grandson of Aaron. It was Aaron's grandson. And you can read Exodus 6:25. And also he's Abishua father. 1 Chronicles 6, verse 4 and verse 50. 1 Chronicles 6, 4 and verse 50. 1 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 4 and verse 50. So he was in charge of the gatekeeper of the temple, of the tabernacle. He was in charge of he was the gatekeeper of the tabernacle. And he got the same position that his father had. His father, Eleazar, was a gatekeeper also. Yeah.
Kind of, you also like Ecclesiasticus chapter 45, verse 23 and 24. Ecclesiasticus 45, verse 23 and 24, and I'll read it quick. Just going into Phinehas some more. It's heavy too when you can have someone that you can look up to, that you can acknowledge was that your direct ancestor. Yeah, Ecclesiasticus 45, verse 23 to 24. Ecclesiasticus. Yes, Ecclesiasticus. Plus Ecclesiastes on this book. 45. Verse 23 and 24. It says, The third in glory is Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, because he had zeal in the fear of Yahweh and stood up with good courage of heart when the people were turned back and made reconciliation for Israel. Therefore was there a covenant of peace made with him, that he should be the chief of the sanctuary and of his people, and that he and his posterity should have the dignity of the priesthood forever.
Because if he didn't do that, more people, I mean, a lot of people would die.
Right. So you got to stop the unrighteous seed from spreading.
Spiritually.
Right.
You of your father the devil.
Right. So let's get back to 1 Maccabees now, second chapter again. Now we are at verse 27. Verse 27. Verse 27 read, and while the city would allow a voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaining the covenant, let him follow me. He's looking for people to recruit, right? He's looking for soldiers, people with the mind set of keeping the law. He's looking for them to join him in preparing to revolt against the enemy. And he said, then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there. So now after committed such a valiant act, every action there's a reaction. So he knew what was coming. So he prepared by going to the wilderness and seek refuge in the wilderness. And there he can prepare for battle.
Psalms 94:16. It says, Psalm 94:16, who will rise up the evildoers, or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Mm-hmm. So the one that rose up for Israel was Mattathias, and now he's looking for valiant men to accompany him to do what he was about to do. Fine.
Exodus 32, verse 26.
Mm-hmm.
Exodus 32 and 26. Also linked in 27. A rounding up of the troops, if you will, right? It was internal of getting us in the golden calf. Exodus 32 and 26. And Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on Yahweh's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. As you read down, he gives them instructions to slay all the brothers and sisters that were given before the camp.
Fine.
They go to camp.
So there's always some positivity in an event that may seem negative. And that's exactly what happened. Through that killing, we had a sought out for the valiant men who would probably not you know, acted if it wasn't for that situation. So now the recruiting started. Many people joined him, and he went to set up shop in the wilderness in preparation for retaliation for what he did. Verse 30 now. Both they and their children, and their wives, and their cattle, because affliction increased so upon them. Now when it was told the king's servant,
Oh, I still like that. 28.
all right, link for 28.
Hebrews 11:38. I'll read it swiftly. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 38 to link with verse 28. And then I actually had two links. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 38 reads, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth. Right? You read above, just going into those who came before us, and the things they faced, and trying to do the right thing. The afflictions that they went through, through their faith being tested. And for verse 29, you can link 1 Samuel chapter 22, verse 1 and 2. 1 Samuel 22, verses 1 and 2. It's again, it's more of an internal thing. It was David fleeing from Saul, right? But it's paralleled in this situation as far as the good fleeing from evil for a time to regroup. 22, verses 1 and 2. I'll read that. 1 Samuel 22, in verse 1, it says, David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave Adullam. And when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him. Everyone that was in distress, everyone that was in debt, and everyone that was discontented, gathered themselves unto him. He became a captain over them, and there were with him about 400 men. So he's going into, when we make a stand for righteousness, things change real quick, but the Most High will always send help. He'll never have you go at it alone. You stand for him. Because think about it, they had their lives, they were in the city, they were established. Now it's like, we done made this stance. This word's going to spread pretty quickly. Now they got to regroup. They got to go into guerrilla move, right? Blend back into the population or leave the major cities and go on the ground. Because now we got targets on our back. And it's like, it takes a lot of gusto to make that move. And realize, yeah, I'm going to leave my comfort zone. Things will be pretty rough next couple months, maybe even years. All for the right cause. This is Psalms 32 and 26 as well, which you see David, while he said this, and experiencing this. Sorry, 37 and 26. Psalms 37 and 25. Chapter and verse 37 and 25, where it says in Psalm 37:25, I have been young and now I'm old, the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Right? So never be a situation where the righteous, no matter what they're against, where they suffer for want and need, food, clothing, or shelter. The Most High will create an opening for them, right? To find some way to live and to thrive, even if they're down low for a time. This is something that we like to always tell brothers who are in the streets who are homeless, who lead a beggar's life. I try to show them, look, here's the reason why you got to where you're at, right? It has to do with us not keeping the commandments. If you take one step towards him, they'll take 7 to a 10. We're going to give a past example of folks who are still laboring with the folks who went back in the world, telling about how what the Most High did for them. So I kind of intend.
Go on. All right, so 1Maccabees, the 2nd chapter. Again, now we're going to read verse 31. It says, now when he was told the king's servant, in a host that was at Jerusalem, in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness. So now what they did was they went into the mountain. What's in the mountain? You got caves. What you can do in the cave, you can hide. Well, you can hide in the caves, and it doesn't look like people are there because it's not like housing. Right? So there's holes under the rocks. You can go in different holes and hide and use it as a place to abide, to abide. And so that's what they did. They went to the mountain, and everyone that was zealous for the law, and they were under pressure, and they were not would keep following the custom of the heathen. They took their wives and kids and the livestock and things that they can possibly get, and they flee into the wilderness. In verse 33 now.
You should think about first Esau as far as Russia, and then Esau as far as America. Challenges they've had with Afghanistan, right? Fighting the war against the Afghanis, where they know their terrain.
Right.
They live off the land, right? They're not really tied into like first world entities, like technology like that. And anytime you try to fight them on the terrain, even with the choppers that can fly and shoot at the caves, they always got that cover of the mountain to protect them. Right. And inside there, you don't have to worry about inclement weather like that. You may get cold, at certain times, but if it's like bad weather, you should have cover from that too. And it's hard to tell one cave from another.
Right.
They know them at the back of the hand because they're land. So, same with the Russians lost. They lost too. They had superior technology. They couldn't beat them in using those caves to their advantage.
Right. Right, and now verse 33 now. Let's start 32. They pursue after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they came again against them and made war against them on a Sabbath day. So this is a war tactic. When you go to war, you have to know your enemy's custom, what they do. That's very useful information in wartime. So you know exactly when to attack them. So you know the time when they sleep, the time they wake up, right? The time they they can retaliate. So what they did, they know on the Sabbath day is a day of rest. So they knew the law, they knew our law, they knew what we were keeping, and they attacked us on the Sabbath day because they know we weren't gonna defend ourselves. We were gonna be in a rest mode, right? And because we zealous of the law, some of us wouldn't even think about picking up arms on the Sabbath to fight, and that plays into the enemy's advantage to kill us physically, but not spiritually, because spiritually you can kill the body, but you cannot kill the soul. And what they stood for was righteousness, but what they counted as an advantage, it's a disadvantage because they're gonna reap what they sow. But that,
yeah, the picture I see, the Spartacus, they were very Spartacus, very religious people. Persians, they was already out there. So they supposed to have gold and spend this mountain ball to the water, destroy the Persian 7,000. So what they did, because they're religious people, so they only send what they could. And the other one is supposed to follow after the festival.
right.
But they're very religious. But the 300 had to remain because they wasn't gonna come. They told them they wasn't coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they had to do what they had to do right there. The 300 had to stay up there and fight for themselves.
Right.
They had to stay up there and fight because they was very religious people. But you know, the king, Hershey, he said that well, we must have to go. They had to, they would have been able to bring them out.
Mm.
So the thing was they had to get there first. They can get there and hold the ground.
Mm.
In the old 300 movie, because we're about to read something like that.
I brought it out.
Right.
We're about to read something similar as far as he's going to bring it out.
Con.
Judas and them.
Verse 33 now. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hereunto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandments of the king, and ye shall live. So now they attacked the people in the cave, right? And what they told them, listen, we got a deal for you. The deal is you come out alive and do what the king says, follow his laws, break the law of the Most High and just do the king's laws, and you're gonna live. That's all we ask of. That's all. That's all we ask of. They said that's enough, Just come out. That what you did is enough. You have broken our law for enough time. Laws. Now it's what's up? We got a deal for you. It's either you come out and live, and we attack you in the caves. So come out.
Kind of link Hebrews 12:4. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 4. So we be thankful about the affliction that we overcome up to this point. It hasn't gotten as bad as this. Where, like in today's time, you may have a gun to your head, or you may have a trigger finger on the chopper saying you're going to drop this napalm over town. Put this lead in your head unless you deny Christ. Which reads, ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin. Right? We haven't in this time. They are right now.
Mm-hmm. So now let's see what they said. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandments to profane the Sabbath day. So there you have it. This is our answer. We're not going to come out, and we're not going to profane the Sabbath day. So those are people with conviction. Right? To have conviction, to take such action, you have to really have belief and faith in the Messiah to actually take that stand. So let's see what happened, even though they took that stand. So then they gave them the battle with all speed. So meaning they gave it to them. So they went in the cave and slaughtered them. So that's when understand the setup. There's no guarantee in this life that you're not gonna get hurt, even though you do all the right things. To keep in mind. It doesn't always happen, but keep that in mind. That's 35, 34. Yeah, that's 35. So it's not a guarantee against safety. When you come to serve the Most High, your physical elements, the physical body, is not guaranteed safety, right? When it comes to serving the Most High, your spirit is always will be protected and cannot be destroyed, but your physical body can be compromised. Now,
Yeah, I was trying to say it too, as far as fear not that which can hurt the body and not the soul.
Right. He himself suffered loss physically. Yahushua suffered loss physically, just as an example, so that we know what we're up against. In verse 36, howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them. So they did not lift a finger. They did not even throw a rock at them when they came to attack them. Nor stop the places where they lay hid, where they were hiding. Verse 37, but said, let us die all in our innocency. Heaven and earth shall testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully. So now this was the conviction that they had. They stayed there. They did not retaliate. They chose for righteousness. Right. They chose to die. It was a choice. So now we're going to read what happened to the Israelite afterward. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath day, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people. So they killed 1,000 of Israelites. Innocent people, they kill. And also they kill their livestock, wives and children, they kill. So the enemy, they stood for what they stood. They stood their ground also, matching their wickedness with the utmost righteousness which is given their lives. Say that again? Right. Right. And they stood firm in their conviction.
You see Esau fighting over in the Middle East, attacking Ishmael doing the noon prayer,
Right.
afternoon prayer. They get that, oh Lord, they start singing, they go, now go in and get him.
Right.
Or like they always do, they like to attack at night. Like that movie, about how they quote unquote caught Osama at 0 dark 30.
Mm-hmm.
Catch you while you're sleeping or while you're praying. It's been good the fourth time before I learned to where these Greeks are the same Esau today. You see how they operated back then, you'll see the parallel of how they operate right now.
So now, here's one action. So let's see what the contingency plan will be if there's a second time. Verse 39. Now when Mattathias and his friends understood thereof, they mourned for them right sore. So they felt very grievous for the people, because they die for a cause, but no one wants to see people die. Right? No one wants to see the people that you care about die physically. Right? Even though we know that the soul doesn't die, at the same time, the physical has its importance as well. Because without the physical being here in the physical, we cannot do for our people, for our fellow men or family members, right? We cannot do for our family. So the physical as well. So that we express ourselves in the physical. So being that we understood the spiritual, but keep in mind the physical also has very good significance, right? It's not like you say, oh yeah, I'm gonna die and I rather go and because I know my spirit is gonna live on. But we gotta say that with understanding. Those people that did it, the Israelites, they did it with understanding. They chose. They made the choice. Not that they don't think their body wasn't important, but they know that the choice that they made is a worthy choice.
See, you don't have to make that choice right now because you're okay so far now.
Right. We don't have to make that choice right now because we're not in that position right now. But give right. Right. Right now we can't say I'm gonna die if something I'm gonna die. We don't know that. When the time comes, if it comes, then that's when the decision will be made. Right. In the heat of the moment. What do we do? Right. So now again, the 39 says, in 40 now, it says, and one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, right? So now, see, that's where wisdom come in. Wisdom come in, say, okay, some of us die for the righteous cause, that's fine. But now all of us now cannot die. Because what happened is, as we're gonna read in 40, it says, in 40 again, it says, and one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives, and always in our laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. So now, all of us can't die now. Some of us got to remain, right, to fight for our religious values, our spiritual laws. Someone has to be there to defend it. And we cannot defend it if we are gone physically, right? Because what's going to happen is the earth will abide forever and there will be inhabitants in it. So if we're not there physically, we're going to leave it to the heathen. And we know if the earth is living to the heathen, happen. It's all wickedness all over. So a righteous seed must stay. So this is the counsel that they come to, the understanding or the choice or the decision that they come to. In verse 41. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, so they pass a rule, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on a Sabbath day, we will fight against him, neither will we die all as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. Right? So our people were murdered because of the choice that they made. But going forward, if they come to fight us on the Sabbath day, they made a decision to fight because our seed should remain so that we can make examples and keep the laws of the Most High. Because we were created for the Most High's glory. We were created in his image, right? To give him his due praise. The Most High expressed himself through us, the Israelites. So we are the representative. We are the representative. We are the representative of the Most High here on earth.
Okay. They sacrifice those the ones that Israel, they choose to die.
They chose to die, right?
They made that sacrifice and chose to die.
Right.
Now the other ones, they said that even though on the Sabbath that they were still going to fight, most times be behind it. You know what I mean? That they will fight to keep, to keep the Israelites going.
Right.
But those who wanted to die, they went on and did it.
Right. So it's two important acts that is made. One, they made a statement that the values that we stand for are worth dying for. The principles, the laws of the Most High, worth dying for. That's why they say you gotta, if you really love something so much, you have to be willing to die for it. So now they prove that. In order for us to express our glory to the Most High, some of us have to live beyond. And if we're gonna rule the earth, we have to have a seed that's left for an example to show people how to do it.
Right.
So if we don't fight, we all kill, there's no seed of Israel left, then it's left to the heathen.
Right. So the situation has to be made. Some will die, some will live.
Exactly. So to balance things out. All right?
Right.
Kind of what you're saying is important. It's showing you that it's not to say one is wrong or the other is right. It's just a different way of looking at it. And when the doctors of the law would deal with different matters, like in the situation here, this is like a council among priests, to where you look at what's written and you take what's written, what's explicitly said by the Lord, and apply it in new scenarios, in new situations. That's what they're doing here. That's what they had to do even during peacetime when it came to new scenarios that were brought before the judgment seat. They had to look at laws that were already written, because sometimes it wasn't just clean cut, do this, do that. They had to weigh things in the balance. That's where your knowledge of the law came in and say, this happened before, this is a scenario, it happened this way. And also, with this person at this time, it happened that way. So we think the best decision, the best course is to do this.
Right.
And as long as the laws of the Most High are being applied, including here, we see a demonstration of grace, which we know was done before, even in the Old Testament time too. That the Most High, we're going to find out the Most High was with them in the judgment. Were they just doing it on their own accord, or was it something that they were doing according to the principles that were already written, just applying them in a different way?
Right. And even Paul made a statement. To die, to go to the Most High is good. When you die, you go to the spiritual world. It's a good thing. To stay here to get the work done is another good thing.
Right.
So put it in the balance. So different things.
You know what I mean? And when they showed they stuff to die, was already what really died for the Most High.
Right. So the statement was made. But all of us cannot be out at one time. So that wouldn't be balanced. So the Most High, the Most High is about balance. Right? Not taking an extreme case and hurt yourself. Right? So that's the way the Most High operates, about balance. Right. Those that die, it was good that they died because they made a choice. They understood the choice that they made, and they took the stance.
Right.
Those that chose to stay and fight, we got to fight to preserve the seed,
right,
to preserve ourselves, right? So that we can give the Most High His glory, because the Most High expressed himself through us here on earth in the physical.
Those are stand-ups.
Right. All right. All right, so they made a decree in verse 42 now. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians. He came, a company of Assyrians, and when you look at it, the Assyrians, they are faithful servants or priests. I mean, not priests, faithful servants, right? People we would consider the saints, Israelites. Those are people who had a sect or a group, a rebellious group that chose to keep the laws of the Most High. Also, that group joined Matthias as well. Right? So those are the group. This is a group of people that chose to leave what they have behind and come together under on the same accord to follow their culture. So now that same group will be joined with the Matthias group. So and he says, then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law. So they were mighty men. Mighty men doesn't mean just a strength of physical strength, but mighty men who stood up for what they believe. Stand for what you believe in. And they were ready to fight because their mindset was set. They all came together with Mattathias. It says in verse 43 now, also, all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them and were a stay unto them. So therefore, everybody will consider exile for the same condition, whether it be pressure, right? Whether it be to keep the law, whether to start a guerrilla army, they all came together.
Combine our forces, we have a common enemy.
Go on.
Beforehand, they might have been different splinter groups.
Go on. Go on. If we are in the, but keep in mind, the commonality among them is that their foundation of what they're fighting for is the same. The principle that they're fighting for is the same. Go on. So that's what happened with today, in today's time, with our people that go into following Islam. The foundation is not the same. You may meet with a blind, say, oh, black man, brother, this and that and the third. The foundation of what we're fighting for is not the same. There's no way we're going to succeed. And again, once again, nobody, not a very large amount of people stood for what's really valuable nowadays anymore. What they deem as things to fight for are possession. What deemed as valuable today to order is material possession, economics, which is just a segment of what we need to live. But the foundation of what we live to live is understanding the spiritual value first, and then the economic, social, family, political, that will be in place. The real foundation must be set. But in today's time, not the true foundation. And that's why sometimes it's very hard even for us, Israelite group, to get together. It's because even though that you got to question the foundation of what other brothers and sisters, really stand for. Because if the foundation is right, even though we might have differences in some areas, but that shouldn't affect the foundation. As long as we all have understanding that we have the same foundation, the laws of the Most High and things like that, there shouldn't have too much schism in between us. So that's why sometimes we got to question the foundation. Verse 40 now. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger, and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathen for succor. Now, operation, guerrilla warfare. They are out to get rid of wicked men and get rid of unrighteous dealing. So as they chased them, they killed some and some ran. Then Mattathias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars, and what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiant. So now they were out on the mission. While they fixing what's wrong, By fighting, also they executing the law. They pursue also after the proud man. Link for 46.
Right. On the circumcision too, this sometimes gets confused. It's saying yes that it's lawful to circumcise, but what's the point if you are circumcising the foreskin of your heart? Right, that's the spirit of the law, which will then lead us to the physical aspect, which is cutting off the foreskin of the flesh actually. But now you actually know what it means. Just like baptism, you can't just wash with water if you don't know the meaning behind the washing.
Right.
This is two verses that just deal with that, because they have both in this context, obviously. This is confusion comes up with the Christian churches when they read these types of scriptures. They want to say the law is no more. So 1 Corinthians chapter 7, 18 and 20. 1 Corinthians chapter 17 and chapter 7 and verse 18. It says, is any man called being circumcised, let him not become uncircumcised. Is any called in uncircumcision, let him not be circumcised. So this is a stumbling block. Read this. 18. This is a stumbling block for a lot of folks that don't really understand what Paul was saying. Right? What he was saying is, those that grew up in Israel knowing about circumcision, right, don't have to become uncircumcised. I mean, let them do the right thing. Those that were born somewhere outside of Israel didn't know about it, but they come into Christ afterwards, but then they live amongst the heathen, which they don't normally circumcise. It's saying, let them not be circumcised, meaning don't go out there just off the bat and circumcise them. But no, show them the circumcision of the foreskin of the heart so they understand what it means to be Israel. That's why he says, circumcision is nothing and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of God. Let every man abide in the same calling wherein he was called. Because the ministry had two forks, right? You see Peter on the internal side dealing with the circumcision. Those that Israel considered real, you're a real Jew, you're a real Israelite, versus all those Gentiles out there, right? Paul's trying to get past the circumcision aspect and say, look, that's not as important as knowing that we keep the commandments and why we keep them. And here's a specific example to convey this idea. This is Acts chapter 16. So here the Acts of the Apostles, what the apostles did to demonstrate this knowledge of Christ. In 1, I'm going to read down to 3. Acts 16:1, it says, then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jewess and believed, but his father was a Greek of the stumbling block. They read that and they go, oh, that was a heathen. But no, we know he became what? One of the bishops in the church that Paul was dealing with, even calling him his son, right? In the spirit, which we know he wouldn't give that title just some random heathen that believed. No, he hadn't been an Israelite. What he was going into was his father's belief, right? We read it in context. It says in verse 2, which was well reported of by the brethren that were at Lystra and Iconium. Him would Paul have to go forth with him, and took and circumcised them because of the Jews which were in those quarters, for they knew all that his father was a Greek. Right? So in their minds, to validate him before them, he said, okay, let me go and get him circumcised. Even though in the spirit, he's knowledgeable, he knows what it is, he knows what this thing is about, believing on Christ. But it's like, let me get them circumcised so that they understand. So the whole understanding is, you want both circumcisions, right? Don't let one circumcision that you miss just disqualify it even having a chance. Don't just let it be, oh, because you were born in a place where you didn't get circumcised. Don't just say, oh, there's no chance for you, you're not an Israelite, you can never be an Israelite. That's all Paul is telling us here in print. And what he's doing here when it comes to Timotheus Acts. So a lot of things we read in Maccabees, that we're going to read in Maccabees, we see it's kind of a precursor to what we see at the time of the apostles, at the time of Christ. Things that they were doing then, it kind of led up to those same discussions, those same misunderstandings that came up at the time of Christ and the apostles. Because we have been scattered. With that scattering, we lost our way. So we had to kind of make sense of things through the scriptures to say, okay, what has highest priority? How do we apply the laws now when it comes to race? Us growing up, or us not knowing what we're supposed to do? Because these kids, their parents could have been rounded up by the Greeks and killed. Or their parents could have went off at that point. And they found them. They weren't necessarily, they followed their parents, but not all the way. They came to their belief now. These brothers say, hey, I'm going to take you as my son or daughter, and you're going to be with us. And now we're going to circumcise you so that you remember what it's all about. So that's what was going on. To hold on to, our root, where we came from.
Done. All right, Tawada, for the explanation in the circumcision. We all get it. Done. And back to 1Maccabees, the 2nd chapter. Now, we in verse 47. It said, they pursue also after the proud men, and the work prosper in their hand. So they go after the proud men, the men who think that they all that they have power, because the heathen do give them some kind of authority. So they go after those people and they prosper. Whatever action they took, it worked. So now they could have just stayed in the cave and go hide in exile and hope for that regime to stop, and then they come right back in. But usually when people seek refuge in some places, they just go and hide and wait for the government that oppress them to fall, and then they come back out. To a certain degree, there's nothing bad about that. But if an enemy coming into your town or your country, right, in your neighborhood, at some point you want to chase them out. You're not going to just leave your neighborhood for them or leave your city for them, and then you go hide in another place that's not even yours. So they went, organized themselves, and then they were very decisive on getting back the altar, on getting back, their rules, establishing back the their way of life. Verse 48 now. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles and out of the hand of kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. So their goal was not to let the sinners continue and prosper. Now, when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, so now, after you do all of this, there's something called, you got to preserve your legacy, right? What you have built, what you're going to leave behind. The legacy that you build going to follow you throughout your generation. So you want that legacy to pass from one hand to the next. Today, we don't even have any legacy, right? As far as religion, what we got is Christianity. Everything else we have is Esau's philosophy and the other nation's philosophy. So we have no legacy. When it comes socially, we got no legacy. Forget about financially. Financially, we gotta make donations when one of us die. Right? You gotta pass the bucket or make phone calls. We cry 2 times when a family dies. We die, we cry for missing the loved ones. We cry for the burden that they left behind. How I'm gonna deal with all this problem that this guy made. So we cry 2 times. Right? Sometimes when we cry, you're like, man, this guy died now. Man, what he had in the bank. Now whatever savings I had, I have to pull it. You have no choice. You gotta bury him. right? You got to pull that money and bury the loved ones.
How shameful is it when they were compelled to put him in a pine box?
Right. And the thing is, keep in mind, when we die that way, you hardly remember. You hardly remember. Because, yeah, you were there, but it's like you were there, you're not there, it's okay. He's in a better place. That's why they say, yeah, he's in a better place. Rest in peace, and that's it. Yeah. But when you left a legacy behind, your name is always in remembrance, even way after you pass. And your values tend to be continued in your family line, in your generation, what you stood for. Right? Certain things is called after your name. Right? And certain principles say, here's what he used to do, here's what he wrote, here's what he left behind. So your families, you're from generation, they learn in that family, and that gives you a sense of pride or a sense of belonging, right? In a permanent family, right? So now he's gonna find and preserve his legacy through his descendants. In verse 49, it says, now when the time grew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, now have pride and rebuke gotten strength in the time of destruction, in the wrath of indignation. So now, even though he's getting rid of all this wickedness, keep in mind, wicked is contagious. It spreads, and it spreads like wildfire when it spreads. Even though he's done much work, but he still see that that's something that must continue, right? So now let's go to Proverbs now. Proverbs 3:21-26. And the one in Acts 16, it was Acts 16, and what verse was it? Yeah, now we're gonna go to Proverbs chapter 3, verse 21-26. And usually when people speak about legacy, all they think about is money. So now things has been reduced to money. Everything now it's all about money. Legacy, it's everything. It's everything that you work for. Social value, right? Your political value, your spiritual value, right? Your finances, all that, right? The total sum of all of this make your legacy, not just money.
Real estate.
Done.
I can't read the whole thing, but it's the excerpt. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, this is what the ungodly say about their legacy.
Wisdom of Solomon.
Yeah, the Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. It says, for the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright. Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. Let's go to verse 6. It says, come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. Verse 7, let us fill ourselves with costly wine, and let no flower of the spring pass us by. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, and let's read verse 1, verse 6 and 7.
Okay.
So they want to enjoy the good things of life, because when the man died, there's nothing come after. So they're going to fill themselves with costly wines and etc. etc.
That's
their legacy.
Speaking of who?
That's Esau. That's Esau's legacy.
That's everybody. The ungodly. Esau could be ungodly. Esau is ungodly for sure. That's the natural ungodly. But we can be ungodly too. And we can enjoy ourselves and not even think of our family for tomorrow. Right? So it's very important that we bring the full spec out. Because when we looking at ungodly, Esau undoubtedly is the natural ungodly. There's no, but ungodly could be Israelite also. When we speak about legacy, legacy should be everybody's legacy. Because if we enjoy ourselves, the fruit of our labor, and then we're not thinking about passing something down to our family, that's not applying scriptures. And when we say passing down to our family, we're not talking about just money. We're talking about the fullness of who we are as a people. That's why as we're gonna read what's in the name, right? Who you stand for, what that person stood for, what is this person, value, what is his worth in terms of life itself, right? But an ungodly will enjoy and say tomorrow, and nobody come back from the dead yet to come back and tell us that there's a resurrection or there's a reincarnation. Nobody have come back and told us that, right? This is common to a lot of men or living in this world, because that's true. Ain't nobody come back and tells you, if you go into that reasoning, ain't nobody have come back and say, I went to the spirit world and I come back and here's how things are going and stuff like that. Ain't nobody come back and tell you that to a point, right? So now the thing would be, man, if I have money now, let me use it, or let me not think about my action, what I'm gonna say tomorrow. And when I go to a social event, I'm gonna act wild, because when I die, ain't nobody gonna remember me, right? My action is done, right? Or if I have family, I don't have to look out for them. Let them look out for themselves. I don't have to teach them anything. Let them fend out for himself. Let them figure it out. I figure it out. I'm here to live, and then after that, I'm gonna die. Ain't nobody gonna remember me. What about they going to church and observing the law? The hell with the law. I ain't gotta do that. What spiritual value you talking about? All that is for here. Once I'm done, I don't have to worry about no spiritual value, right? So all that is wicked, and all that make up who you are, and that's all part of legacy. What is that?
Is that YOLO?
What is that?
You only live once.
Yeah, you only live once, right? That's okay. I agree. So that's the mentality of a wicked person, because he or she, or the people of the world, the wicked, they're not thinking wisely.
I just want to read these two verses real quick. This is I think it came up last week at camp, right? We were talking about the regeneration, how we know it's for real now. And what you said is key, because oftentimes we don't think about tomorrow like that. We may think short term, as far as like legacy for my kids, come after me, what I'm doing right here and now, or just even thinking about the day of your death. What would they say about it?
Right.
You get folks who will kind of mention that idea, but as far as having that idea in your head every day, as if it's your last, to truly be in that zone, one thing for folks just think about it every now and then.
Right.
Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 22, just to echo what you said earlier, Khan. It says, Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just.
Okay.
So the wealth of the sinner, like you're reading about, they're going to get right back to the righteous anyway.
Okay.
But it says he leaves an inheritance to his children's children.
Right.
Not just his children.
Right.
So a good man, a real good man, according to Scripture, he's thinking that far ahead.
Right.
Everything he says and does.
Right. Everything he says and does is doctrine that he stood for, he represents. Right. All that make up his legacy.
Proverbs 13 and 22. And also Ecclesiasticus chapter 30. Ecclesiasticus chapter 30, I'll read 1 to 50. So So Ecclesiasticus 30:1. Like we were saying earlier, that's carnal and spiritual, right? So we got to think about both. We can't just be on, on some, miser type stuff. At least not forever. You have a time in your life where you do that. Then it's like, okay, now, okay, you gain spiritual riches. You made yourself poor, you may gain spiritual riches. Okay, fine, right? But now, you're going to get married, have children, things like that. You guys are thinking about the physical realm. Saying, okay, I got to do something here to leave behind. Right? That's me dealing with the carnal wisely according to wisdom. It's not me being consumed by them. It's me just being thoughtful of that. Ecclesiasticus chapter 30 and verse 1. He that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end. He that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father died, yet he is as though he were not dead. We have left one behind him that is like himself. While he lived, his soul rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. So as you read on 1Maccabees 2, we'll see this example being established with Mattathias.
Fine. So that's on legacy, right? It says now we're gonna see Mattathias, what he did, and the instruction that he gave. So also I meant to read Proverbs 3 and 21 to 26, right? Proverbs chapter 3, verse 21. And it reads, My son, let not them depart from thine eyes, meaning the wisdom. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul, and grace to thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. And it says in verse 25, Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall be thine confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. Right? So now, this is the wisdom that is left behind, right? This is a legacy passed down. So now let's see what Mattathias did. He says, verse 50. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous of the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. So now I say, give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So every time you face a situation, fall back on what the ancestors did. Go back and recollect, right? And find out what they did, right? This is treasure.
It's messed up because every year they had the Dunley Festival here.
Right.
Really? They did the same thing, but taking it back to
Africa.
Right. So, we set up some prayers to the ancestors, but they actually go into almost like ancestor worship.
Right.
So they take this same wisdom that we have, but corrupt it. So,
right. Okay, verse 51 now. It says, So shall he receive great honor in an everlasting name. So now great honor in everlasting name. That's a brand right there, right? Your name is your brand. Kahan Nabiya name is his brand. Whatever he does, follow him. Kahan Yahukanan has a brand. Kahan Sabak has a brand. Right? Kahan Zakon has a brand. That's brand. That's your brand. Zabak has a brand. So whatever you do, your action, it's gonna remain. Let's say when you go, but your action is gonna stay here. So whatever you do, right, it's gonna follow you even after you're gone. Right? So brand is not, it's not just for, as a matter of fact, it's not just for companies, right? So brand originated from people. So you gotta brand your name and care, but you gotta love the Most High in order for you to love your brand. And you gotta love yourself too. Right? If you love the Most High, you pretty much love your brand, because now you're gonna exemplify good things, right, to further your brand, which is your name.
Proverbs 22:1. Link to what you're saying. Proverbs 22:1. It says, "A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, rather than silver and gold."
Done. So the name, again, is your brand, and you must protect it, just like a company protect their brand and even go to great length to sue other companies that try to infringe on their brand. So your name, you should do whatever you can to follow the law so that it can preserve that name, for forever. So you must love the brand. You must love yourself, the brand.
Kind of so backwards, because they'll sponsor us that do something for them, whether it be some kind of talent we have. When we get put out there for wickedness that we've been doing, they'll remove themselves and say, "Well, we're not going to sponsor you."
Exactly, because they don't want anything tarnish their brand. They want that brand to remain pure, right? They want that brand to, because the brand communicates certain values, what we stand for, right? So it's the same thing. Like you said, is reverse. The name of a person is his brand. So if we think of ourselves in that manner, each and every Israelite man and woman is a powerhouse, right? We are a powerhouse, and that brand should be protected at all times. But to protect the brand is we must go into following the law, statutes, and commandments, and that's how we pretty much manage, a brand, into that brand stay forever. So that's why it says it's better for a name is better than silver and gold, right? So what's in the name, right? What's in the name is what the person stands for, the value of what the person said for, what he will do and will not do, right? And that is communicated in every aspect, from the way you dress, from the way you speak, right? From the way you act with your family, at work, right? In your community, right? All that reflects from what you eat, right? Dietary law, from spiritual, all that represent you as the brand, right? And it says in verse 52 now, was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? So that was the seed that he saw, the seed of faithfulness, when he was asked by the Most High to perform certain act, and he was rewarded righteous. And it's gonna go through other brand that we're gonna see, Abraham was way back, so now that brand resurfaced, just like Yahushua is the number one brand name, right? To the point where that brand name is so pure, righteously, it's even copied by the heathen, but flipped it and put it in on themselves, but use the same name.
We had that conversation down my part. In the Greek, the word, we say word, in the Hebrew is the bar, but in Greek it's logos. That you get your company logo.
Right.
Logos, just the Greeks, the same thing. It means a word or a concept, a thing.
Right.
They took the same thing and then tried to depict themselves as some kind of image.
Right. So what they did was they took the name. They know what the name represents, even though they don't act what the name represents, but they know what the name itself represents. So they put the name on the forefront and give you Cesar Borgia, but still use that name, right? Because they know what it represents. And underneath of the background, as the wicked, they keep performing behind closed door things, right? And still using the name. But it's good that, you know, they put their own picture on it, right? But not the picture that's in the scripture. Right, so now they put their own name on, they put their picture on it, but still using the same name because they know what the name represents. All throughout ages, all throughout the four corners of the earth, that name is used and widely used worldwide used, right, because of what the name represents.
So powerful, they couldn't destroy it. All they could do was just take the perception.
Done.
Even the unclean spirits themselves, Satan himself, wouldn't be here without.
Done. Abraham's name cannot be taken away. It's still gonna be there. And we're gonna read yeah.
Just write down Genesis 22, 9 to 12. Genesis 22, 9 to 12. And also Genesis 15, 6. For time's sake, I won't read through it. Just it's just the history there. Genesis 15, 6. You can go back and read it see what Mattathias is talking about. 6.
All right, in verse 53 it reads, Joseph in the time of his distress kept the commandment and was made Lord over Egypt. So that's another brand name, Joseph. Phineas.
53 is right there in Genesis 39 in verses
right? Caleb.
Yes, that's right.
You said it is?
Yeah.
Folks may see this for the first time. I think every Jesus. In verse 2.